Welcome, children of the popcorn, to the Evil Popcorn podcast. This is a companion to our review of Vampire Zombies from Space.
There you go.
That we've done. We've got Mike Stasko here with us, the director of the said film. So we call our listeners children of the popcorn. So if you'd like to tell the children of the popcorn a little bit about yourself to get us started.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on. My name is Mike Stasko. I'm a director, writer, producer from Canada, although I'm currently living in France for the year, which has been nice. Yeah, and I am a filmmaker. I'm a professor. I teach film production at the University of Windsor, and I also have making films and TV for the last 20 years as well.
Okay.
And Vampire Zombies from Space. It's my first horror film that I've ever made, so that was pretty exciting.
Okay, all right. So Vampire Zombies from Space. Did you have a writing credit on this? Did you write with?
Yeah, I wrote it alongside Jacob Skripa and Alex Foreman.
Okay, so that was one of our questions. We've been pronouncing it Skrizpa, so it's Skripa.
Yeah, I've made that mistake even after knowing him for years, and he's corrected me, and I've messed it up a few. He's got so many consonants in that last name; it's tough.
And they're all together.
And all together. There's no usually you need a few vowels for relief for your tongue, but it's not.
All right. Well, it's good to know that we got it close, kind of. We were relying on the internet for the pronunciation. So yeah. So Jacob, Alex, and yourself are the writers, the director, and producer yourself. So this is obviously at the outset a love letter to the 1950s sci-fi horror. It's got a bit of a comedy bent to it, which is wonderful. And I understand that this was originally written back in 2010.
Yeah, this was Jacob Skripa and Alex Foreman kind of wrote this in high school, a very early draft, and they actually shot some of it, like kind of, backyard stuff as they were learning filmmaking, and there's some pretty funny old clips that still kind of survived from that. And then years later, when they were done university, they thought they'd take a look at their script from like 10 years ago and see how their writing has improved or whatever, and they kind of, a lot of the jokes were still there and funny stuff, and they learned a bit more, I think, about structure and stuff. And they had in the interim done a lot of short films and made some really funny stuff on YouTube and Funny or Die. And they brought that draft to me to take a look at, and I just thought it was hilarious. Like the characters, a lot of the characters are there. There's so many jokes that were in there that still are in the final film.
Yeah.
And over the course of a couple of years, I kind of jumped on board to do rewrites on it. We went to 25 drafts, added kind of more structure and plot and a few other characters and stuff. And so that's the result is what you see.
Okay. And I understand you had a little bit of bad luck with some original footage.
Yeah. I guess they shot in like when they were in grade 10, they shot a bunch of it. And I think they lost like something like 3/4 of it. One of their friends, they couldn't have been more than 15 at the time, right? Accidentally erased or lost a bunch of the DV footage, which was more common than not back in the day.
Yeah.
So there was a few tapes that survived because I remember seeing a few clips of it. And I think there's even a clip of Alex being attacked by a zombie that's in the final in one of the montage sequence that we put in the film as an homage to it, I guess.
All right. We had a lot of fun watching this as well. It's evident there's a lot of love been put into this production.
Thank you.
What's your history with like horror, sci-fi?
I have a big history with sci-fi. That's probably sci-fi and comedy are my favorite genres, and the other feature films that I've done for the most part are either sci-fi or comedy.
Oh.
This is the first time I kind of I blended both of those together in a film.
Okay.
And it just happens to also be horror because that's the world it's set in, is the 1950s horror that we're kind of spoofing.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any history with horror before that. So it was kind of fun to blend all three of those together, and especially to do it in black and white, which I've done a lot of short films in black and white, but this was definitely my first feature in black and white. So there's a lot of fun challenges with that as well.
So what was the biggest challenge blending the horror, sci-fi, and comedy together? What did any part of it lose out at all in the process?
Well, it was very challenging. If you think of those three things, horror, sci-fi, comedy, you can probably name on your hand the times that has worked before correctly. And there's a lot of films you haven't heard of, or a few you have, that didn't do it properly or kind of messed up. And we were, vulnerable to that as well. So it really took time to hone and get that script right. And then working with the actors to get the tone for it to make sense. Because you can you can turn the satire more into a parody where all of a sudden there's like eyebrow acting and there's too much winking at yourself going on, where you have to remember, no, it's got to still be serious for the characters to work.
Yeah.
So when they made those films in the 1950s, no one said, remember guys, let's do this camp. It's like, no, they did it and then it turned out camp afterwards kind of thing. But then when you're consciously aware of that and now it's, 2022 and you're shooting it, you have to like add that in as a layer without being too tongue-in-cheek in it. And I think sometimes when it hasn't worked in recent years, it's because there's a bit too many winks and nods and self-awareness, or you have really good actors who are playing it down or playing it dumb or playing it camp, and you can see that.
Yeah.
So that was really a fine line to walk, and the feedback we've gotten from audience and critics so far seem to think we did it pretty good, I guess.
Okay, so you've been getting some good feedback on it?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback that's most important, I guess, is the audience reaction. And we've played at 52 film festivals over the last year, sold out screenings, and the more of an audience, the better as far as reactions and people yelling and screaming things and laughing to communal kind of watching. This really is a film that we feel plays a lot better with a full crowd of a live audience.
Yeah, yeah. Do you hope it kind of gets to that cult status like Rocky Horror?
Oh, I mean, that's a hard one to hold a candle to. But I mean, yeah, in my wildest dreams. But, it's already gotten more following and reviews and reach and spread than any film that I've certainly made before up to this point. I would make a feature film, and if it got into 3 or 4 festivals over the course of 6 or 9 months, I was ecstatic, right? Yeah. Like as soon as you get into more than 2, you're like, oh my God, it wasn't just lucky that I got into 1 or something.
Yeah.
And like I said, we've got into 52, and maybe half of those were ones, maybe a bit more than half of those are ones that I actually applied to, and the other half were like we were getting invited by festivals to come play there because they've heard about us at others, which had never happened to me before, to be invited to a festival without applying. So, and then, getting picked up for distribution across multiple countries, and it's coming out in theaters soon in France and in Russia. We just did a US run in theaters and in Canada. So yeah, it's doing well.
Okay, that's good to hear. Is Ed Wood a big influence of yours?
Yeah, I mean, Plan 9 from Outer Space specifically, and also watching the Tim Burton Ed Wood film, which I love greatly. Now, it's an influence in that we try to strip and steal a lot of that aesthetic and the acting style,
and one of the
and then the plot points and that kind of stuff. But you're not necessarily trying to make film as he would have done it.
Yeah,
you're trying to write a love letter to how that is. So especially now, like you have more modern techniques and modern equipment, but then you have to kind of go back and make it look as if it's done in the way of an Ed Wood film, for sure.
Yeah. So you did a lot of what you did in the film practically. There's not a lot of CG or digitized effects in there. What was the biggest?
No, as much of it possible is practical effects. So anytime you see a head being ripped off, that's something that we constructed and did a mold of that person's face and had tubes running out for blood to come out, people getting stabbed and all that stuff. The few things that are for sure CG are like when you see fire, like when the tobacco fields are on fire.
Yeah.
We don't have the budget or the safety confidence to light a field on fire. But even if you see the UFOs and they explode, we actually created, Aaron Photo did our miniatures. He created those miniature versions of the UFOs, and we actually put gunpowder in there and shot a green screen and blew those up. No. But they're at a small scale, and then you blow them up against the green screen, you mat them in, and then you add tons of sound effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff of that was practical. But then you are comping in a lot of practical effects over top of each other. So that's technically CG when you're doing it, but you're not making like a robotic dinosaur or anything like that as far as CG goes.
Yeah. So now a lot of people that in the film industry can point to a film they saw probably that they shouldn't have seen too early. What sci-fi or horror film did you see too early?
Too many. Oh my God. There's a film, Tales from the Hood, that I saw way too early. I had a neighbor who was that neighbor where you'd go over and they had older brothers that would let you watch that stuff. That one definitely stands out. I did see Young Frankenstein probably too early, but I mean, it's less harmless than a lot of other horror ones because it is also comedy. And that was probably one of the more bigger influences on me as well in making this film as far as the look of it as well. But yeah, just a lot of films I should. My dad once, great dad, but he I don't know if you remember Blockbuster Video, but it was the old go in there, pick something something out, hurry back on out. And he was our babysitter for the night, so to speak. And he's like, go in, pick some movies. And we were like, running around taking our time. And he's like, just watch he went to the comedy section and grabbed one. And then he let us watch it. And he was in the other room. And it was a film called Kentucky Fried Movie.
I remember Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah, John Landis movie. And it's like right off the bat, there's like breasts against the shower door kind of thing and other stuff. So that was a little bit of a loss of innocence moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the town in the film, is the whole sort of blissful ignorance of the town people, is that like a Romero homage? Like a lot of his films, like the townspeople until the very last second seem to be going on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't try to disguise like there was original thought put into something. Like we stole a lot for this film. You know what I mean? Like it is a love letter and paying homage. So if you watch it and you're like, that seems like a Romero shot, or isn't that from a John Waters film or whatever? It's like, yes, we pulled it all. We're not claiming like original concepts on that, Hopefully our execution of it is original and all that. But we were trying to, you don't know how many films you get to make in your career and how many times you're going to get to do that, like a horror comedy. So it's like, let's just grab everything possible that we'd want to pay tribute to or parody or satire and put it into this film. So it's a long list of stuff that we grabbed.
I did see that the Kickstarter campaign, most of the tiers were named after various directors.
Yeah. That was kind of fun. And some people that worked, some people literally told me like, it was too much for me to get that one. I wanted the one below it, but I had to get it because there's like the Jordan Peele one,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, very serious question. If there was a zombie apocalypse, how long do you think you'd survive and why?
Man, that is serious. I'd be a bit vulnerable now because I have 3 young boys, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a baby. And I think what I should do is just dump them to the side of the road and survive myself, in which case I think I would actually do pretty well.
Okay, good.
But there's this thing of like being a father where you kind of want to stand up for your kids and feed them,
Yeah.
So I think I don't think I would last too long. I think I would get them and my wife to like a safe place. I'd do some looting and probably get maybe a month's worth of food that I could carry back with me. Then soon after that, there'd be a scenario where it's like, I got to go back out for this one last thing and then we're going to be safe. And then I'd get taken or eaten or something, So I would die a hero for sure. No doubt. But that would be my week. Now, before kids, I think every guy fantasizes about this, right? Like I have the fantasy of like, you're in a mall and there's an active shooter and like you go and you Bruce Willis it kind of thing, right? But I think you also have that, not that would be a fun situation, but I do have that fantasy of zombie apocalypse, constantly thinking about like, okay, fill up the gas tank, head north, like find, that kind of stuff. So
sure. Okay. All right. When you got the script for this, what was the part of it that made you make the decision to direct?
A big part was just like the laugh out loud comedy, the inappropriateness of the comedy. I had done a lot of films and I tried to be as, inappropriate or as far reaching as you can. Like, but the more films that I've made, and I make, exclusively like independent low budget films, you realize that making a feature film, there's such competition for eyeballs afterwards, right? You can make a beautiful film, a handsome film, and you love Hollywood actors, but you don't necessarily need that. But unless it has some sort of differentiator to it, it's not going to see enough eyeballs. Get into a few film festivals, get minor distribution, and that's it. And the film maybe loses money kind of thing. So I was at the point in my career where it was like, if you're going to spend 3 to 5 years making an indie film, which is what it takes, you might as well gamble and say, I got to do something so far out there that it's a stick of dynamite that people can't ignore. Now, it's okay if half the people don't like it and it's not their thing. That's totally fine. And that's how a lot of films are. All films are. But for those who do like this kind of genre or want to see this, and if you read the title and you're intrigued and you're that target audience, then let's try to hit constant home runs with the laughs and inappropriate and that kind of stuff. So I knew that it was something that was ripe for taking it to the extreme and playing lottery tickets with its success at every step kind of thing.
Okay. We're down to another one of my very serious question.
Yes.
If you were a slasher, in like a slasher,
yes,
what would be your mask and what would you be getting revenge for?
Oh man, I think my mask. I think I would be like get the crazy plastic surgery.
Sure.
Would be my mask. mask.
Okay.
Right. So that I could still go back into society. And I think it'd be one of those like things where like years ago, the bullies did something to me and humiliated me and like made me pee my pants, like a Carrie kind of thing. And then I did like the long con of like the Count of Monte Cristo where I like build my villain's superpowers and all this, get this plastic surgery, put myself in a position of like power or friendship around all these, friends of mine who made fun of me. Yeah. And then like in one single night, just like take them all down and ruin their lives and slash them all up and that kind of. Sure. I haven't put much thought into this.
No, obviously not. Actually, most people, when they ask that question, will go, can we come back to that? And they'll think about it through the rest of the year. But you did well. That's the most cogent answer we've had directly so far. It's good.
There you go.
What was it like to work with Lloyd Kaufman?
Oh, it was great. We were very fortunate to get him to come and do a cameo in this film. I mean, the film is like, if you had to say what would be the most amazing person to cameo in the film, that's him, right? It's the world that he's master kind of thing. So he was great. And like, I mean, he showed up without even knowing what his part was going to be. We just said, we need you for one day. We'll fly you in, we'll fly you out, we'll take care of you, all that. And then he got off the plane. We're like, okay, so you're the public masturbator. And he's like, yeah, go on. And it wasn't like, hey, brace yourself. This is what you're going to, and he's like, oh, why? He's like, yeah, go on. So then where do I stand? What do you want me to do? Do I hold it out or in? Is it above the shirt? Or is it, I'm like, okay.
He's obviously put thought into it.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, he is a very smart, intelligent guy.
Yeah.
Right. I think hopefully people know that, but you see a lot of Lloyd Kaufman as crazy character and you watch his films and they're very B and camp, but he's self-aware and puts a lot of thought into everything. I don't think you have that kind of success in any avenue without having brains in you. So just talking to him right away, I'm like, yep, this is a very, very smart dude who kind of earned his way to where he is.
Yeah. I got to chat briefly to Michael Jai White, who was in a bunch of the Toxic Avenger movies. And he said that Lloyd Kaufman was one of the most thoughtful and intelligent filmmakers he'd ever worked with.
Yep.
Interesting that he's now...
Yeah, because you assume like, if he wanted to, I think he could go make like an A movie. Like if he had the budget, not like he has the intelligence, he understands what the lens is doing, the scope, but he's like, no, this is my medium. And he mastered it. He's like the top of it. Like when you think of camp, be gross out, inappropriate, like he is the top of the game. So he made that conscious decision many years ago, climbed that specific ladder and is at the top of it.
Was there any particular directions that you gave to the cast to make them sort of mash the whole the comedy, horror, sci-fi together as effectively as you have?
I think with the biggest one that was in common, which they all pretty got early on, but I had to kind of say it at least once for the most part, was no, you take this seriously. Like this is a serious thing that's happening for you. And the line that you're saying is ridiculous. And the audience will laugh at it because it's juxtaposed against something. Let the editing and the filmmaking take care of that. But everything you say is high stakes for you and it's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I've seen this medium done before and the actors are like, oh yeah, I'll sure. Like they're kind of doing a sarcastic voice or eyebrowing or like, so it was just important because I think we had like 82 speaking roles throughout the whole film, like with lines.
Yeah.
So you just had to kind of make sure everyone was kind of doing it that way throughout it was the big note, I guess.
Okay. So consistency is important.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Is this an anti-tobacco film?
Yes, it is. That was, you know what? There was a lot of great stuff in the original script that I read, but there wasn't the tobacco through line and that being, spoiler alert, the thing that is kind of a big thing in the film.
It's the MacGuffin.
Wasn't in there. I mean, that was kind of something we wrote all of us together to kind of make that a major through line. I myself have never had a puff of a cigarette in my life, so I could say that was me trying to put that in there, but it just kind of works so well as a great turn to something. And again, I don't know if someone is watching this and they haven't seen the film yet, so I don't want to give that away, but to have it be such a central thing to it and being turned on its head the way it is, I think was very funny.
Okay.
Hopefully fine. Yeah.
Oh no, it was hilarious. I briefly smoked for about a fortnight when I was a teenager, and then I realized how much of my pocket money was going into smoking, and then decided I made a commercial decision not to smoke.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Probably for the better. Probably for the better.
Yeah. Yeah. And you live a few more years too. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a favorite movie monster or alien race?
Man, that one's tough. I guess I would say like I love when they meet, and this has happened in most sci-fi stuff, when they meet the sentient being, like the being that is like beyond comprehension. They're way too evolved or whatever. So you see like them in Star Trek episodes or in like Marvel stuff where they run into this like all-knowing being and they can't outsmart it or comprehend it.
Yeah.
And they have to really do some like teamwork trickery to get past it kind of thing.
Sure.
Because I feel like with a lot of the other ones, and I love vampires and zombies and werewolves and all that, there's so many conventions as to, well, now we get a silver bullet, or now we get a stake, or now, or now we use daylight. Whereas the sentient being one is always a different answer of how they go about doing the trickery or how they have to win the day with that one. So it's always a way to watch that and be like, whoa, this one's a powerful foe. How are they going to get past this one? Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I like that. That's good. Was the title of the film, was the phrasing of that like a particular joke? Like obviously you're meant to pause after vampire zombies, and then obviously the exclamation mark at the end, you've got to go up with the "if from space." Yeah. Was that one of the first jokes you came up with?
Yeah, that title was from the original draft that Jacob and Alex did. And I mean, the title itself is its own marketing material as far as read that title. And I like everyone that I've talked to, they're like, well, when I saw the title of it, I'm like, I have to see this. You know what I mean? Where there's not that many other films where you read the title and you're like, I gotta watch that. Just so to have such a simple title that has the cadence of it that pulls you in, like, are you into the idea of vampire zombies from space, like that combination? And there is, and obviously it's spoofing. There's a lot of different films that are like werewolf aliens from underwater or whatever. This kind of triplet of combining those. And we were happy to see that these specific three words haven't been done in that order before. So it was kind of unique as well. Yeah. So it was a send up definitely to that kind of style as well.
Okay. All right. Another serious question for you. What's the evilest corporation in sci-fi? Like Weyland-Yutani, OCP, Cyberdyne?
Well, I don't think Cyberdyne consciously was evil. I think they turned into that, right? Which is kind of what's going on right now in the real world. Like one of these companies, like OpenAI or something, like is going to turn into that Cyberdyne. I think Weyland Industry, it might be them only because they sacrificed a lot of bodies to get stuff done without letting them know, like the missions they would send them off on. And I feel like they were early adopters of just like the capitalistic part of it. It wasn't like we started off as a mom and pop shop and I made this little, vacuum cleaner who had consciousness. It was like, no. Like they went out of their way to make all this stuff happen.
Yeah.
And the idea now that it's across a few franchises, like it's gotten a lot bigger than it really was to start with, is kind of really cool. I'm trying to think offhand what other ones would be that evil. And that, I mean, you could go, like in a Star Wars thing or whatever, but I don't consider that as much as like what the world that we're talking about or whatever, like the Empire or whatever. But I'll go with Weyland.
Okay, good. I mean, it's my response as well. So yeah. Obviously, that's good. If causation, I don't know, correlation.
Yes.
What's the one thing that you'd want people to know about this film that might not be immediately evident?
Oh man. Well, the one that might be evident that might not be as evident is how low the budget was. It's because it was like, this was kind of a great filmmaker's trick, is this film was so ripe to be made because as an independent filmmaker, the low budget look of it was part of the aesthetic of it.
Sure.
We also just happened to have a low budget as well. So it's, where I've made like actual more real sci-fis or real comedies where it's like it's a low budget and then it might kind of show as a result, where like this kind of lined well. Now, that's not to say it should have been that low. There was a lot of sweat equity. I mean, people got paid to work on this film, but like minimal rates, and they put on hours and weeks and months of extra work and at home time. So, I mean, you're talking to me as the director, but there's another 100 crew member that built miniatures and got locations and did costuming and so many other things that went into this, that this was like like a huge collaborative effort of like 100 filmmakers working together.
Yeah.
And I say that like the other people working on this film are all also, there's directors and writers and producers. They just happen to be the production designer on this or the production manager because they're helping me out in this film. So it really is a group of filmmakers that went together to make this film. It's not just a single voice or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Out of curiosity, what was the budget? If you want to reveal it,
you can have 2 guesses, and I'll say lower or higher each time.
Oh, okay. 2 guesses. Are we talking Canadian dollars or American dollars?
Well, you can do US, and then I'll adjust for.
Okay. $300,000.
Lower.
$75,000.
That's US. A bit higher.
Okay. So under 100,000.
Pardon?
Under 100,000.
You're getting pretty close.
Okay. All right. And look,
I usually don't say anything because, but we've actually done distribution at this point. If we hadn't done it yet, I wouldn't say anything.
That's fair.
Because you don't want the buyers to know. But I mean, yeah. So a lot of sweat equity went into it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like one of the things that I really noticed when I watched it. Now, I've watched it twice now. Is the love and the family feel that obviously has grown up around when you're producing this film and making this film is evident on screen. Everybody's doing the best job they can. Like this does not look like that budget. It looks like you've spent more money on it. The only reason I lowball is because I've worked in independent film as well. So the film looks like you've spent more money on it than you have, which is great.
Yeah. Thank you. It's always a nice thing to hear.
Are there plans for a sequel?
It'd be wonderful. And I know all the filmmakers involved would love to do a sequel as well. I think the main thing is just seeing how now it's kind of rolling out for theaters and Blu-ray and DVD and television and all that in VOD. So that's all coming in January and beyond. So a big part of it, and it's not a bad thing, is you have to see how the audience reacts to it, a wider audience. So far, we've had an amazing support and reaction to the film festival circuits, like through the roof, more than you could ask for, and won awards and been nominated and all that. But that's also a very specific audience who's went out of their way. They love indie film. They love this stuff, and they went out of the way to go see it. Now it's got to be spread out to a more general audience, and you have to say, well, is there another 10,000 or 100,000 people? It doesn't have to be millions of people, but another 100,000 people across the entire world who would say, yep, I'm going to buy this film and I would pay money for the next one,
Yeah.
And then the success on that kind of dictates if and when a sequel could be made.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So the appetite's definitely there, but it's going to take a little time to kind of gauge whether now's the time or if it's in 20 years from now, all of a sudden it becomes a cult classic. And then that's when we make it or whatever it is. So we'll see.
Nice. Have you got any plugs? Where can people find you? What's coming up? What's next?
Man, well, yeah, I mean, head to the website, vampirezombiesmovie.ca, I think it is.
Yeah.
We got Instagram and Facebook there, so you can kind of find out where it's playing and how to get it. All of us are working on a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
I just finished producing 2 Shakespeare movies. I did The Winter's Tale and Macbeth, and those will be coming out. I did a show for Bell called Landmarks and Lunch that just came out. I have an animation company that I'm currently working with and helping some very talented people out of Vancouver and Florida that I know they're going to get something going real soon. And then I have my own sci-fi film that I've been working on that I hope to shoot very, very soon. And there's another group of filmmakers, both at the Dot Film Company that I work with. We've been developing a few horror things we want to shoot. And my film partner friends at Suede Productions as well, very talented. They did a lot of the special effects for this film. They have a bunch of stuff that I'm going to help produce as well. So a lot of things going, but I don't like to say the titles of stuff until it's actually we're on set shooting.
Understandable. Yeah. But yeah, for the children of popcorn out there, don't forget, follow us at Evil Popcorn Pod. You know all of our usual plugs: Evil Corp, Escape Manor, Improv Queensland, Actriac Theatre, IFWG Publishing, and Supernova Convention. So yes, but look, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on and having a chat to us about vampire zombies from space. Yes. And keep an eye out for what Mike's doing next, folks. Go and see his website, follow him along, and go and see his stuff, because only going up, I can guess from here.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me on.
Really appreciate it. All right, well then, our usual sign-off, Mike, is go to bed, children, go to bed.
Go to bed, children, go to bed. I wanted just a different take on that in case,
Appreciate it.
Your scene was pretty nice. I'm like the bad cop.
Faster, more intense. Isn't that what George Lucas says?
Yeah. Great directing.